So there we were, on stage, holding hands. I was looking up, staring into this guy's eyes, planning to just kind of ignore how awkward this was going to feel, to avoid the intimacy of it. I was just going to wait out the time until it was someone else's turn. I felt small and unsure of myself. And it wasn't this particular guy who was the problem. It also wasn't really eye contact, exactly. It's that I hate being around men. My chest gets tight, my breathing gets shallow, and I don't even notice until much later. I'm going to try too hard, or I for sure am also going to be awkward. I'm just not going to be right, or I feel like I'm not enough of a man. I mean, maybe that's not right. I don't hate individual men. I hate being around groups of new men. I always have. So I think what I mean to say to every man in the audience is, you're a douchebag until proven otherwise. You know what I mean, though? Yeah. So a new acquaintance the other day said, you're just constantly looking for vulnerability in other men. I think that's right. I heard someone say a while back that vulnerability is the most attractive thing in a human, and I would agree with that too. I mean, it's foundational. You could be the smartest or the funniest or the nicest or the most accomplished, but until I've seen you crack open that facade for a breath of fresh air, fuck it. Fuck you. I'm not interested. I don't like it. I don't feel comfortable. I will remain on edge. I felt different from other men from an early age, or like I didn't fit in. I felt too short, too shy, too weird. Okay, do you know what full court press means? Shut up. I didn't, that's the point. Do you know why you don't play that way in YMCA boys leagues? I don't. That's the answer. Okay. I do know, though, that it's humiliating to get it wrong in a game when everybody else knows that they're supposed to be at the other end of the court and parents are yelling about that kid who's breaking the rules. I still don't understand all the rules of basketball. How does everybody else know them? How does my brother Luke know them? We're twins. We do everything together. When did he learn this shit? Did we cover this in practice, or do people pick it up from watching basketball? This game, really every sports game as a player or as an audience member, is that the word? Feel like a test of my masculinity or my ability to fit in. And I hate failing, and it feels inevitable and personal, like something is wrong with me. I don't want to stick out, but I can't help it. I feel small and dumb and unclear on how or when I'm going to get it. Just FYI, I started to look up full court press for this talk. I literally ended up on Basketball for Dummies. Why is that a website? Sticking out, quiet, being shy, being a teacher's pet, these things made me a target. In grade school, there was a moment, probably in 6th grade, we had a long recess that day. It was sunny outside, and it split along gendered lines. So boys were over here, and girls were over here, except for me. I had joined the girl group, probably defensively, probably proactively, just don't make me play with the boys. So it's sunny, and we're sitting in the grass. And at some point, all the other boys, including my twin, decided that they were going to, as a group, come over and mock me for this choice that I made regularly. What a nice way to welcome me back to the right side of boyhood. So, of course, I go to an all-male high school. Thanks, Mom and Dad. I mostly try to keep to myself. I get good grades. I play flute in the band. I got first chair. Then I quit the band immediately. I think the thing about high school that worked for me, it's a bigger school, there's more nerds to hang out with. Some of them are sporty, but most of us aren't, so it feels a little safer. One hard thing about high school, this is when I find out that boys are hot. Is that why I always felt different? Is this why I feel like I don't fit in? It's a real clusterfest to wonder if your sexual identity is why you don't fit in socially. I did work study in high school, after school, in the summer, with the janitorial staff and other dudes, bros, to work off scholarship grants. This kid, Brian, and I are in work study together, and this dude could smell that I was shy or that I wasn't going to stand up for myself, and he was like one of those dogs that bites and can't let go. Mostly this meant that he called me faggot under his breath, or when there was no one else around. But his confidence builds over time. Until one day he's just yelling at me repeatedly. What are you, a faggot? Are you a faggot? Are you a faggot? Over and over and over. And this goes on for minutes, uninterrupted. I have no idea how to interrupt it, so I don't. I try to ignore it, but he's not going to let go until he gets a reaction, which I'm not going to give him. After forever, some upperclassman steps in and tells this kid to shut up. The upperclassman is bigger than both of us. Maybe that's why it works. I'm still very aware that this is the only time in my life that I can remember someone directly interrupting homophobia when I'm the target. At some point, I start overcompensating in sports for my insecurity. Around 25, I join a regular pickup soccer game, and there's this guy who I find intimidating, and if I'm being honest, also sexy. He's over 6 feet tall, he's former military, he's kind of dangerous seeming. After a game one day, he says about me, that guy's a tank. I don't fight him for the ball, I just get out of the way. This does not fit with my self-perception. I'm a little proud of this, even though it means that maybe I'm the dangerous seeming one. So a couple years ago, I joined the St. Louis improv community, taking classes at the improv shop. In the second level of improv classes, there's a whole day called Vulnerability Day. In order to improvise well, you have to be able to access and perform the whole range of human emotions, and audiences want characters that have strong, relatable human emotions, positive or negative. So you and your team have to figure out how to co-create safe space for yourselves where you can all feel safe being fully human. Because you've got to be able to play men and women as multifaceted characters, and that requires vulnerability as you figure out how to present people and not stereotypes. Before that day, though, you have to practice looking each other in the eye. Eye contact is the only way to know if you and your improv teammates are on the same page about where your scene is headed, and it's a skill that you have to practice. People don't just show up ready to stare into each other's souls. So, here we are, on stage, holding hands. I'm staring up into the eyes of the biggest guy in the room. I don't know why. It wouldn't have been my first choice. Probably like most other people, I would have preferred to choose a female partner for this exercise, but it would have been too obvious, too awkward in this instance to avoid this man. To my surprise, as I actually do the exercise, I realize that I'm looking at a person I could actually like working with. My second thought is, I think you might have the kindest eyes in the room. So I decide to keep paying attention, hedge towards openness, and see if there's room for a friendship here. As it turns out, our scenes together are great, often rooted in a growing friendship. I went to his wedding a couple weeks ago, for what it's worth. He's great. So I try to have less of a chip on my shoulder about other men. I feel aware day to day that men need to figure out how to do masculinity better. I want us to undermine patriarchy and sexism and homophobia. I've learned how to rely on other men to be close with them, to talk about our lives and our emotions and why I'm feeling insecure today, and lean into those connections for emotional safety and security and reality checks when needed. Side effect, this might give a break to the women in our lives who are doing the emotional labor for us. They're probably already doing enough of that at work. But more so, maybe, we need to do this together because we can, because it's possible for men to support each other better, to rag on each other less, to create space for those big, impossible emotions that our inner children are dragging around everywhere. So it's been a learning for me that things go better when I approach other men knowing that their inner child is probably still working through some shit, just like mine is. In conclusion, are y'all still douchebags until proven guilty? Yeah, yes. I mean, I still carry that with me. I'm working on it. I know it's not true. I know it's not fair. Do I still overcompensate, act hypermasculine or competitive, especially when I'm feeling small or unpopular or not sporty? Yeah, and I'm working on that too. Am I constantly looking for vulnerability in other men in order to feel safe? Yes, you're damn right. I'm not giving that one up. I've learned a little how to give my inner child space to feel and process his emotions, to create balance between my emotional reaction to different events and how I choose to react outwardly. And I've learned enough that I don't always have to be overprotective in a reactive way. So, if you see my inner child out there across the field, maybe just have yours wave back, because that's all he ever wanted anyway.